So I've got Simon Lizotte's new Simon line disc called the Bokeh. I really like the disc, but I also feel like MVP has let us down in a way. I just want to give you an unbiased, honest opinion on this disc, review it, compare it to some other discs I got, and just share my thoughts on kind of how I feel like maybe we've missed something here. But we'll start off with a throw and get straight into the video. Be sure to subscribe. Here goes the Bokeh. So we're gonna break this video down into 3 parts. Part 1 is gonna be called the disc. Part 2, we're gonna talk about Simon. Part 3, we're gonna talk about MVP and how I feel like they kind of dropped the ball. Part 1, the disc. Let's talk about just the disc. Just the disc, not just the tip, just the disc, okay? So just the disc. Let's say I'm outside playing disc golf. Someone comes up to me, they hand me the disc. I don't know anything about it. I don't know who made it. I don't know whose name's on it. I don't know anything. Don't know the flight numbers. I just get the disc. I throw it. What do I think? The disc is phenomenal. The disc flies very good. It's going to be great for beginners. It's going to be great for intermediate people. It's going to be advanced, pros, all levels. It's going to be great for everybody. It handles torque pretty well. It also goes really far. It's neutral. It doesn't have a lot of turn, doesn't have a lot of fade. It's just a straight flying disc and it goes really far. The disc itself is awesome, okay? Now let's talk a little bit about Simon and the disc. I got a little clip I want to show you from Bedanza's channel where Simon mentions he wants eventually to have a Simon line only bag. Here's the clip.
Instant replay. The aspect that I chose for the bag. See if it does the same thing. Hey, that's nice. Wow.
That's incredible.
That was sent.
Oh my gosh. Do you think you're like up in circle 2 there? Close to it?
I think so.
That's crazy.
I like the line on that one.
Has it been exciting getting to like design your own discs and make them like fit for your game? That's got to be so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I got some taste of it over at Discmania back in the day. We did the tilt together.
Yeah.
We always talk to UC about future discs and stuff. But yeah, this has been really cool. I predict 3 years from now, I'll have an all Simon line bag.
Wow.
Which is going to be pretty fun.
That's super fun.
So that made me start to get to thinking that why would Simon come out with the Bokeh? Because it is so close to a servo and a crave. Servo, crave. They're both 6.5 speeds. They're not 7 speeds. But there is a fine line between the two. And the Bokeh fits right in between them. So it's kind of like, why would we create a disc where we already have stable versions of craves that fly like this and then understable versions of like this? And so I get it that Simon's like, I want my own disc and I want it to come off the press and fly exactly the way I want it. I don't want to have to try to hunt for a stable crave or a flippy servo or get a servo, beat it in. I get that, but it is like, I don't know. There's not much of a difference between them. I'm gonna throw the crave. We'll see. Now the crave is gonna get a lot more turn. I mean, look at that. That's got a lot more turn, and that is almost a brand new crave. Now we got the servo. That servo definitely wants to hook up. The Bokeh is literally right between the two. So if I were Simon and I played for Discmania, I love throwing the FD. It was a great disc, I loved it. One of maybe the greatest fairways of all time. Why would I not want MVP to make me an FD? I would. If I were Simon, I would. And they are extremely close to one another. Extremely close. There's a little bit of a difference, but they got about the same amount of dome. Like if you put them in my hand and tell me which one's which, I would be able to tell that this one's Axiom because there's a little bit of difference between the rim and the flight plate. But other than that, it'd be really hard to tell the difference between the two. Although I do think the FD is a bit more overstable than the servo, or not the servo, but the Bokeh. Let's see the FD in action here. Man, it's basically a Bokeh. I don't know what the numbers on the Bokeh will be when it comes out, but I would not be surprised if it was like a 7601. Would not be surprised at all. So with all that being said, the disc is great. And from Simon's perspective, MVP nailed it when it comes to, I don't know if he really wanted a FD, but if he did, he got it. It is very good. So from Simon's perspective, if he wants to build a Simon line bag only and throw only Simon line discs, I mean, it makes total sense. It makes absolute sense. If I were him, I'd want the same thing. Here's where I get, I guess, a little selfish, and maybe the public may feel the same way I feel, but I feel like they really dropped the ball, MVP did, and there's a huge gap between the servo and the resistor. Now those are 6 speeds, but even if you get up into, like, they don't really have a whole lot of 7s. They got the relay. They don't really have a whole lot of 7 speeds. And if you get up into an 8 speed, it just feels different. It feels more Tesla, and that's the Volt. The Volt and the Tesla are kind of hand in hand. So I don't really want an 8 speed, I want a 7 speed. And Discmania makes one. It's called an Instinct. It is a 7502. Discraft makes one that's pretty close. It's a 7.6 -1.2. That's the Sagara. Innova makes one. It's a 7502, and that's called the T-Bird. If you're thinking, Zach, well, if you want an Instinct or a Sagara or a T-Bird or whatever disc that is a 7502, just get those discs. I want to, but I really like MVP and Axiom, and I just feel like they dropped the ball on filling a gap that actually could be filled. They just made another flippy, neutral, not flippy, but neutral flying fairway driver. And so it's a little like, it kind of sucks. We'll throw the Instinct, and I'll show you, it's just gonna have a little bit more bite. It's gonna be closer to the servo, but it's gonna have a little more bite than them. See, I put that on hyzer, and it just almost did. You gotta rip those basically flat in order to get a very close flight. Here's the Sagara. It's gonna be probably not quite as overstable. It's gonna be between the Instinct and the Bokeh, but it still would love to have this in the MVP Axiom line. See, that kind of flipped up a little bit, but it still has plenty of bite. Gets left, no problemo. And so, for my own selfish personal reasons, I was a little sad when I heard Simon say, it's gonna be a stable Crave. I was like, heck yeah, let's go. And then he was like, it's not quite as stable as a servo. And I was like, that's a very thin line there. Like, that's not what I was looking for. And so, me personally, it's not great. Another slot I think MVP and Axiom are working on is the PD. That's gonna be for a different video. I have some aspects coming in, and I cannot wait to bring them to you and show you how they fly. So I'm super excited about that. Simon wants a more stable Tesla, which to me is basically a PD. If it's a 9-speed, not a 10-speed, I mean, we'll see how it all flies and how a PD compares to an Aspect. I know Eagle's kind of working on a similar thing with the boost. The first boost is way too overstable. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if Axiom MVP and Streamline can come up with a PD, because I absolutely love the PD. I just wish they made a PD, and I wish they would make like an Instinct T-Bird-esque disc. Those two would fill some great slots. I'd love to know what you guys think. Be sure to comment down below. Be sure to subscribe. Go check out Disc Golf Deals. Thank you guys for watching. Go in peace and be blessed.